Welcome, everyone. All my friends on one screen. Thank you so much for coming. This is my heart beating with excitement at, here we go, at being together with you all. I mean, this is the thing that I'm looking forward to every week, and I come out of it like, uh, my happiness factor multiplied by 10. So thank you so much for joining us today. And we have a great program. So what we're planning on doing for our tea time is to do a creative warm-up. And we changed it a little bit, thanks to my friend Todd, who's with us today as well. And then we'll talk about our heroes of crisis. And we have an amazing guest, Sanyin Siang, and I'll introduce her. And then we'll talk a little bit about next time. And our ground rules are, you know this from past teas and maybe past workshops, but everything we do today is all right. There are no rights or wrongs. All ideas are welcome, and we will build on each other's ideas. So we'll say yes and. I muted your mics for you, but that'll be just the, we'll go in and out of that. And then I asked you if you could rename yourself with your location, and some of you are able to do that. And then let's use the chat to comment, because, and it's the chat to everyone. This way you can speak and kind of put, one thing we found is if you put your name and then write your comments, that really helps. And then what we're going to do creatively today is, it's really, the reason that we started these teas is so that we can be together for each other and uplift each other and think creatively among all the different things that are going on. And one thing I mentioned to everyone is that I'm practicing, based on the advice of a friend of mine, I'm practicing media distancing, which has been very helpful. And then another thing that I've been trying to do is really live in this moment and not think too much about the future. And those things, and plus our conversations with you have been lifesavers. And so our goal today is, again, to think like designers with optimism and empathy, building on each other's ideas collaboratively, seeing the big picture, but then connecting the dots in new ways and asking what if questions and having an open mind. And the way we're going to do this, as you know, is our mood together is playful. We're going to think about new ideas playfully, which is the mood of design, because when we're playing, we're not afraid of making mistakes. Also because I think this time really calls for being playful and laughing. One of my great remedies has been following in Seda's footsteps. Seda Evis, who's one of my dearest collaborators and who's running the slideshow. She sent me a whole list of stand-up comedians. And so if nothing, I just watch that and laugh out loud. And then my kids wonder what's going on, and then we laugh together. So with that, we're going to be playful and give ourselves reasons to laugh. And so what we wanted to do is today, let's start with where we left off last week. Chester Elton, my dear friend, and also the author of this book. Can you see that book? I hope so, because I can't see myself. So Leading with Gratitude. He came to our tea and shared with us really the basics for being grateful. And he said one way is to write down every day 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for. So we want to start with that and say, thank you, Chester. I'm so grateful to you for you know, reminding us of what's important in this moment. And if everybody could add to the chat box and say what they're grateful for. Let's take a minute as you write your answers in the chat box. Nice. Great. So my healthy family, good coffee, the sun, newly found family members. That's really cool. For good health, here. A huge blooming pear tree in front of your window. Oh my God. Nice. In front of your front door. Nice. Verda and her 17-year-old son and his unshakable attitude. Man, oh man, that's so cool. He must have gotten that from you, Verda. The sunny living room, yes. And spring, Todd, your amazing wife. One day I need to get everyone to tell, I need to get Todd to tell how he met his wife to everyone, because it's the best story. Laurence, thank you for being here again. It's midnight for you. Grateful for being alive with you here. Oh, thank you. Susan, 97-year-old dad who's healthy, wonderful. And for family, my job, spring, and the beautiful place that I live in. Oh my God, Annette, your son's recovery from a bad case of the virus. Now I'm grateful for that as well. So with that, and the red hat, very cool. I have Lainey, I need to check that out. So with that, our next prompt, and we changed our drawing a little bit, and this is inspired by Seda Eves and Todd Churches, is going to be drawing our gratitude. So everybody get your sketchbooks, a pen, napkin, whatever you'd like, the first pen, pencil you can grab, and let's draw our gratitude. And this doesn't have to be a fabulous drawing. It just needs to be you channeling and expressing your gratitude in another medium, which is drawing. You wrote about it, now you can draw about it. And this comes from Todd, because Todd has, you know, done multiple Design the Life You Love sessions with me, and he's become a great friend. And he sent me a note, Todd, thank you so much for doing that, and said, Ayse, what if you change up the drawing exercise a little bit? What if you ask people to draw their feelings? And then Seda coupled that idea with Chester and said, what if we draw our gratitude? And then sent us this image of her and her daughter, who's 10 years old. And so Seda is drawing her, she's grateful for her morning tea, and then her daughter is grateful for Zoom, so that she could meet her friends. So let's take 3 minutes, and I'm going to try and actually, I'm not going to play some music. I'm going to figure out I'm going to figure out how to see you all. Oh, Lainey, now I see your hat. Beautiful. Very cool. I love it. Beautiful. Thank you. Let's see. Nice. Okay, now I can see you all. Hi, Claire. Good to see you here. Todd, do you like the new twist?
So can I say something?
Sure. Who's
While it's Lane. So we just moved to Los Angeles and I bought all these very fancy scrapbooks, like Louis Vuitton city books. And the idea was that as we moved to LA, as we went around to different things, we would have memories and we would collect them. But of course, we're here. So instead, every day I kind of just go around the house and whatever art projects or trash or what have you. So for example, my daughter's online and this is the first thing she made. She now goes to school online. This is a snake with a paper plate. We put that in our book. Or we had, and this is, my son said this is a picture of the virus.
Wow.
So dumb things like that. Or our friends in New York found a way to do online bingo and include people. So I put like the bingo card. So this is our coronavirus. And if you can read this card that says this S ... is bananas. This is our coronavirus scrapbook. This was canceled. So I don't have anything to draw.
Okay, Lainey, could you send us some pictures of that and then we'll share it in our next edition. Thank you so much. So everyone, this is a good time to, I think everybody has done their drawing. Could you hold up your drawings of gratitude? And so we could look at each other's drawings, and then Meltem is going to take a picture which will go into our next invitation. So, okay. I can't see everyone. Does everyone is holding their images? I don't think so.
Seda, can you stop sharing your screen for a minute? Thank you.
Oh, nice, beautiful. Okay, hold it, and Meltem.
I'm taking.
Hold on. Let me take a. Could you do one more, and I'll hold up this one. Yay.
Okay.
Done?
One more. Yes, done.
Thank you. Okay, that was lovely.
Could you also please, if you like, take a picture of your drawing and send it to us. You can just reply to the confirmation email. For those of you who really would like to share it with us, we'd love that. Thank you.
You could do a collage of it.
Yes.
Good thinking. Thank you. So, Seda, you want to share your screen again? And then we'll do our creative exercise. Oh, we forgot to show. This was my gratitude drawing from yesterday. I tried to draw my friend Elizabeth phone, and so this is her. And then coming to our exercise, we shared our gratitude drawing. Oh, and yes, Seda is really great at finding inspirational quotes. So I asked her to find us one today. Seda, do you want to read this?
Sure. It's from Maya Angelou, and she says, "My wish for you is that you continue to be who and how you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness."
It's so beautiful. And I feel like we're seeing more of this today. And I'm just astonished at how many people are expressing their feelings in the most positive ways. People that would have been otherwise shy about saying, oh, you mean so much to me, or I'm so happy that you're in my life. I find myself saying it with no shyness whatsoever, and I see other people saying it. So this to me is like, there are so many acts of kindness going on. So thank you for that. Your being here is for me an act of kindness. And with that, we wanted to talk about our heroes. Last week, Seda, Meltem, and I, in Leia, we talked about what should be our next exercise to kind of bring up the positive thinking and optimism of our group. And we thought the heroes exercise is really a good one for that. And many of you have done the heroes exercise, where we think about our heroes, people who we know or we know of, that inspire us, and write down their qualities. So I wanted to give you my latest example, or my latest drawing of one of my biggest heroes, Marshall Goldsmith. And Marshall, he has this white beard, and with the coronavirus, I thought to myself, well, he's not going to be able to go see his barber, and that I imagine what's going to happen with his beard, just growing and growing, this white beard. And I thought, well, knowing Marshall and how much love he has for people, that beard is going to grow in a love shape, a heart shape. I also wanted to note, I don't know if you can see this, I couldn't get this on my, oops, you can kind of see it. I couldn't get it on my keynote, but Marshall said something that really influenced me, that inspired me to do these teas. And he said, if I can help just one person, that's all that matters to me. And that he's doing everything he's doing just in case it helps one person. And I thought that's such a liberating thought, that, and it's very humble. The other thing is that what I mentioned earlier, to be in this second, not even moment, to be in the second. And then the fourth thing that Marshall always talks about, no judgment, no obligation. So you're either in or you're out. It's really how you choose to be. And with that, that's my example. I wanted to ask you, who are your heroes in this moment of crisis? And what are their qualities? So if you could add in the chat, say, again, note your name and say my hero. You could say the name of your hero, or just say like my friend, and then write one or two or three qualities. Let's take 2 minutes. And what are the qualities of your heroes that really inspire you? Maybe this time I can play a little music.
Battery 60%. Connected to Ayse Birsel.
Can you hear the music? There's so many beautiful things that you're all writing. One of the advantages of chat is that we can share in real time. And what we'll do is we'll save the chat. And if you've come to the sessions before, you know that we, with the people who are attending, we share the outcomes, the insights. And what we'll do is we'll share these qualities and stories because they're so, so beautiful. Seda, you give me the go-ahead when you think I should start reading some of these things. Okay, is that my go-ahead, Seda? That's my go-ahead. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, please allow me, since we don't have time for everyone, I'm going to pick up on a few people, just and unmute them so that they can, I'll try and unmute them. Actually, maybe I'll just ask. Todd, could you share your hero with us, because you're one of the first to write here?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. As a few other people I noticed did, I put down Andrew Cuomo. I think he's what a true leader should look, sound, and feel like when you're listening to him. He's doing all the right things. And I teach leadership at NYU in Columbia. We had a whole conversation around what he was doing well. And as a visual thinker, just using his PowerPoint slides and the imagery, he's really effective in doing that. And yeah, so he was so nice, singled out in a time of crisis. He stepped up to leadership when leadership was needed.
Beautiful. I agree with you. Being a New Yorker makes me feel safer. Yes. And thank you so much. Susan from Toronto, beautiful, beautiful note here. Can you unmute yourself and share it with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
So my dad escaped Nazi Austria by the skin of his teeth. He almost didn't get out. He got out, luckily, and because he was supposed to be deported. And he is, and I don't know how he did what he did, and I don't know how he built a life for himself, which he did really successfully in Canada. They got out, then they were interned. He taught himself English with library and a book and books. He can tell you the first book he read without a dictionary. He taught himself English with a dictionary and books, and he can still remember the first book he read without a dictionary. He's incredibly dedicated and has incredible perseverance. And I don't know, a lot of family was killed, and they started over twice. I don't know how he did what he did.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing
My pleasure.
that story. It's just your hero. Now our hero as well. That is just amazing.
Thank you. That's lovely.
Thank you. Cecilia from Seattle. Could you mute yourself?
Hi, everyone. I wrote that I was thankful for this connection, just to add that. But my hero is my sister. So my nieces are 4, 6, and 8, one of which will have a birthday party soon. And she's been able to maintain like security and safety, but they are just having fun, being in joy. Like, it's hilarious to ask them what Corona is, and have conversations of what it means to be in quarantine. So I'd be curious to see what they remember from this time, but I'm hedging a bet that it would be dance parties, it would be costumes and baking, and a lot of good times with Mom.
I love it. Thank you so much. And cheers to your sister. And those kids have a great aunt too. So, Cheryl, could you unmute yourself?
Okay, so I wrote about my grandmother who lived through the last major calamity, the last pandemic in 1918, but she also lost her entire family within a month. Her mother, her father, her sister. And 18, they told her she had my senior graduates, they told her she was gonna die in a year. I mean, she was gonna be blind in 6 months and she was gonna die in a year, and she lived to be 80. And so what she gave she had like 30 grandchildren, and what she gave to all of us was this unconditional love that I'm actually contemplating writing a book about her, because I've never met someone so loving in my entire life. And she happened to be my grandmother, so I was blessed with that. It saved my life many times. So that was the reason. She was just wonderful.
I love it. And Cheryl, I'll turn it back to you. We know each other. We've known each other a long time, and you're one of the most resilient people I know. And you're just like your grandma, resilient, resourcul, and kind and loving. So you've really learned from her.
I'm trying, but
yes,
thank you.
Yes, you are, and it's really a pleasure to know you. And Cecilia, I want to come back to you and say your ability also to bring laughter and joy and kind of like loving to people at all times. And I'm sure even more now in this chaotic time is really, that's you and your sister, you're I would say very, very similar. And I want to go back to Susan and say, Susan, I didn't know, of course, the story, and I don't know you very well, but this perseverance and generosity in your smartness, these are like the things that you're noting in your dad are also part of who you are and what's important to you. And so it's great to have you here. And then Todd, empathy, honesty, authenticity. If you asked me to describe you, I would have said those things. And you know that these are your values, because the things that we observe in other people and many of you know this because we've designed lives together. You've designed your lives and you're redesigning now. But I don't think we've ever found in ourselves in this moment of great crisis. I don't think we could have imagined this even if we tried. And yet, look at your heroes, and then look at what you're writing about them in terms of inspiration, and then own those values, because you are listing your values in a moment of crisis. And you can just note these. And what I find helpful is to either put them under my pillow or look at them every morning and remind myself, like, I am resilient, I am authentic, I am creative, and then try to embody those qualities. So I love that you shared, and like I said, having this now on the chat is inspirational to all of us, and we'll share it with everyone after our conversation. So with that, I wanted to bring you to one of my own personal heroes. So now I'm going to embarrass her, Sanyin Siang, who is part of MG 100, Marshall Goldsmith 100. We were one of the first members of Marshall's group of thought leaders, coaches, and executives. And Sanyin and I were talking about our tea, and I said, Sanyin, would you like to come and be part of our conversation? Would you like to be my guest? And she said yes. So thank you so much, Sanyin. And with that, I asked her, so what do you want to talk about? And she said, I want to talk about how we're all comforters in chief. And Sanyin is a board and CEO coach. She's a professor at Duke University. She's the author of the Launch book. And since I've done this drawing of her, actually the Launch book is also here. So let me kind of wave that, this beautiful book. And she has become Thinkers 50 #1 coach just last November. So with that, Sanyin, so happy that you're here. Take the mic and tell us about being the comforter in chief.
Oh, Ayse, it's so great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And when you were talking about who our heroes are, I drew you.
Oh my God, thank you.
Because of your creativity, and you always help us see the best in the world, in others, and that in turn inspire us to see the best in ourselves, right? Which is your hero exercise. And so it's an honor to be here and to be a part of your virtual tea. So in my work, I work with leaders in business. I work with also students across all different age groups, like college and alumni, and then all the way to 50-some-year-olds. And my son is actually asking me to pour cereal. Oliver, you can pour cereal yourself. For the first time in our lives, I think bringing our whole self to work also means something totally different, right? You'll see him come in and out, but that's the beautiful mess and chaos of our lives that we are revealing to each other. And I think that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So, but one of the things that in this unprecedented moment, I mean, Cheryl, you talked about your grandmother going through the 1918 global Spanish flu pandemic. I think that was probably the last major time we ever experienced something like this globally. But today we have the social media, we have media, there's differences in the situation. And I think I started thinking about this in terms of business, right? Like how business leaders before the domain of business has been, you know, numbers and strategy and finance and operations, and you actually separate out work and life. But because this what we're all experiencing is for the first time also bringing work and life together in the same space, that I think we can't overlook the importance of emotions and addressing emotions. So for those who are, you know, who are business owners or who are leading teams, this idea that we were brought up with that, well, you don't talk about life at work, you don't show your emotions at work, I think that's outdated now. Because when you think about that idea of separating work and life, that might have worked for the days when there's the assembly line, the Ford assembly line, and we don't need a lot of imaginations from our workers. But today, when we're facing so many unprecedented challenges, we are, excuse me, can you ask Sophie for cereal, please? Okay, and today, the unprecedented challenges, we actually, the human asset is more important than ever in being the most important asset in our organizations. It's the imaginations, the willingness to take risks and to innovate. And so for that to happen, people need to be able to deal with their emotions and have a sense of psychological security. And so against this backdrop, I think it's accelerating this idea how leaders, at the end of the day, we're managing people's emotions and energies. And so in the face of what we're seeing right now, where everyone is being battered financially, physically, we may have loved ones who are, I mean, Annette, thank God your son is on the mend, right? We have loved ones or even ourselves who are recovering, or how do we reach out? And how do we embrace this role where we also have to be comforters in chief in the different communities and organizations that we're in? And so what was previously the domain of world leaders like Queen Elizabeth II, and her father before her during World War II, or pastors, or physicians and nurses, and we all have to take on this role. And so I was thinking more about this, and what does it mean to take on this role, and how, because it is uncomfortable, right? It's already, and even for those who have plenty of practice, like the pastors and the physicians and nurses, it's still hard for them. And we're newbies at this. So what are some things to think about when you need to reach out to that friend or that team member who is going through anxiety and grief, right? And so I just wanted to share three perspectives, three things to think about. So the first one is actually something you guys started off this conversation with. I mean, Ayse, you talked about play, right? And Cecilia, I love how when you talk about your sister and your nieces, that your sister's creating this, it's play, right? And giving them good memories. And I think that's so important, because it's not only our ability to show up for the times of grief and anxiety is based so much on, and our ability to help comfort them is based so much on our previous history of being able to show up for the good times and to be able to create good memories for them. And that's something in our control. And so I'm sure when you talk about your grandmother with unconditional love, and I just think about the decades of great memories she must have created for you, and when we think about, we have the ability to create great memories for ourselves. We also have the great ability to create great memories for others. And that unconditional love and showing up, not waiting until it's bad to show up, showing up now and doing that makes it makes it easier to have that trust and that ability for them to see you as someone who is a comforter, who can be of comfort to them. So that's one thing I wanted to put out there. And then the second thing is this idea that, I heard this great quote the other day. It's basically saying the future rewards clarity, but dooms certainty. I thought about that. I'm like, we are in a world where we have this illusion of certainty up to now, right? Like in business, it's analytics and numbers, and therefore we all have it's about getting the right answers or getting the answers. And I think what's so uncomfortable, right now is realizing there is no answer. There is no answer. There is no right answer. And so when I was exploring this idea of how do you be a comforter in chief, and what do you say when you reach out to those who need it, I reached out to a woman named Deanie Dempsey. She is the wife of the former chair of the Joint Chiefs. So she's a military spouse of a military commander. And I said, okay, so during those tough moments when you're going to comfort a widow or someone who's, married to someone who is in the hospital because of a gunshot wound in battle, what do you say? Right? You know what? There is no right thing to say, but it's about reaching out. And so it's about reaching out and listening. Because when we listen, it's giving them the space to be able to air their anxiety and air their grief. And that in itself, think about the times when others have comforted us. And it's giving us that voice and seeing us and knowing that we matter. That's what we can do for others, is reaching out and seeing them. And just by virtue of reaching out, seeing them and giving them that voice to air what they're feeling in that moment, in that second, and legitimizing it. And so that listening is such a key part. And to listen, oh my gosh, today's world, it requires us to, hold in all of our impulses to be fix-it people. I don't know if any of you are type A people out there. First to raise our hand. We're fix-it people. We want to, that's what makes us good. But in this instance, that could actually be the thing that causes a negative reaction. We just have to be listeners, not fix-it people. And then the third thing is thinking about, we also grow up thinking we can do everything by ourselves. And so, we could go in and we'll be the comforter and do this as a soul endeavor. It's a soulful task, but it's not a soul endeavor. We need others. It's doing it with others on the team, right? Because we don't try to be a hero. Enable others to also be those comforters in chief, and actually allowing them to also comfort us. Because if we're really honest with ourselves, we're feeling a lot of that fear and anxiety, frustration. We're probably going through a whole slew of emotions that we can't even put a name to it yet. And that's okay. Right? And then the last thing, in thinking about this, is the idea of resilience. And Susan, your story, about your family and how they went through, escaped Nazi, survived Nazi Germany and the Holocaust. And I think about resilience and what's needed in times of and it's not about resilience for a moment, right? We are living in the moment, that's part of it, but it's not resilience for the second or the moment. That's a lot easier because we can we can just buck up for the moment. This is about resilience for a season. and what we're experiencing this season. And to do that, we're going to get tired, and that's okay, right? We don't have to be productive all the time. We don't have to be doing all the time because we're going to be getting tired. So along with that work and productivity is also the importance of rest and play. And that rest part is really about reflection and discovery and seeing ourselves and asking ourselves the tough questions like, okay, what are we feeling today? What are we grateful today? What's a moment of joy? Who are the people who are important, truly important in our lives? What are the things that truly matter? Right? And that's going to help us get clarity. And then that play part, oh gosh, laughing is so important. Laughing. I think if we ask those who have really been through like really tough times, you know, like Susan, if you ask your grandmother, or sure, if you ask your grandmother how she survived losing every single family member within the span of 1 month, and then given that diagnosis of, oh, you might be, you know, blind, I bet your grandmother knew how to laugh, just really knew how to laugh and bring joy and laughter. And that's that play part. We can't disregard that. Even in the most somber moments, we have to find an opportunity to take joy in the shared experience and play and laugh. And that's what my children do for me. And I think, you know, Cecilia, talk about your sister, and you talk about how your sister is a hero for doing that for her kids. I think if you ask her, she would say her kids are heroes to her because they're keeping her resilient through their laughter and through their everyday joy. And so that's
beautiful.
I was
Sanyin,
thinking.
thank you so much. And talk about playful. I mean, that's why I have this hat. I pretend I'm a cat, and and I go on top of my teenage daughter and kind of like pretend I'm a cat. She thinks I'm crazy, and I'm like grr, 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 and until she like pushes me off. But everyone, let's give Sanyin a big hand. Let me unmute everyone. Hold on 1 second so she can hear it. How am I going to do that? Hold on. I'm not good at this. Where's mine? 1 second. Okay, now everybody's unmuted. Let's give a big hand to Sanyin, our comforter in chief. You're the best. Thank you for joining us. And I also wanted to do just see if we can laugh together for a second. So everybody, are you going to laugh? Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I love it. Oh, Allison, I like your hat. Was that you with the no, that wasn't Allison. I just missed someone who put a king's hat on top of there like a pillow. Speak and then I'll speak. Well, thank you for doing that. That was really funny. All right. And one of the people who know a lot about play and laughter who's with us today is Yeshim. So Yeshim, you need to send us some tips on how to play more in this moment. But we have 4 minutes, so I would like to bring our tea to a beautiful close and say, please, everyone, reach out to your heroes if possible, if they're with us, and tell them that they're your heroes, because this is more than ever, this is the time where we need to hear that. So with that, thank you so much for coming today. You made my day, you made me happy. I hope that for a moment we were able to help you think differently and playfully.